Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 Audi RSQ8 Performance and put it up against the 2025 BMW X5M Competition. Now for the Audi, these start right around $136,000. In today's video, with the Performance fully loaded, it is closer to $160,000. For the X5, they start around $127,000, and in today's video, fully loaded, $144,000. So significantly less than the Audi. Just depending on options that you get with the Audi, it can be similarly spec'd. But let's get into today's head-to-head comparison. Now this is powered by the 4-liter twin-turbo V8 with the mild hybrid system. It's also paired to the 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 631 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the Quattro all-wheel drive system, propelling this 5,500-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. It has a top speed of 190 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 22.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 14 miles per gallon in the city, 20 out on the highway. Now this is powered by the 4.4-liter twin-turbo V8. It's also paired to the hybrid system along with the 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 617 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this 5,400-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds. It has a top speed up to 177 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 21.9 gallons. You'll expect to see around 13 miles per gallon in the city, 18 out on the highway. You'll notice it's on the entire surround for this hexagonal grille, where there's also the new Audi badge. There's a forward-facing camera, sensors on both sides for the distance pacing. There's also parking sensors as well, with a cool design running throughout that mesh. There's also a set of LEDs for the headlights, high beams, DRLs, and turn signals, and then more gloss black in the lower section, as well as the carbon fiber in the middle section of the lower portion of that bumper. And then there's two distinctive lines that come down the hood to finish it off. But I think the carbon fiber is definitely a neat touch. It's also on the far sides of the bumper too, where there's more mesh there and parking sensors. This has a very beefy front end. You'll notice that the kidney grille is finished off in gloss black, and then there's X5M, as well as a lot of cutouts in this grille. There's also the forward-facing camera as well, and as you can tell, we have LEDs for the lighting. We have the new design with the dark housing and the turn signal look, and then underneath that, we have a lot more gloss black and tons of cutouts. There is a lot of functionality to this front end. There's also the sensor right in the middle for the distance pacing. There's parking sensors too, and the inlets on the side are just as large. It's really neat to see all of the body color going through all of the gloss black, and then there's some really clean lines that run down the hood too. Now as we take a look at these wheels, they're finished off in matte black with a nice design. These are 23-inch wheels. There's also the carbon ceramic brakes for this model too, with a very massive caliper. I believe they're 10 pistons up front, so they give you that stopping power for this heavy SUV. Now this also has more carbon fiber for the mirror caps. There's the camera, turn signal. There's a moonroof up top, along with matte black for the roof racks. There's gloss black for all the window trim, and then very crisp lines that run down the side, including the fender arches, both front and rear. There's also another line just above that door handle, and it goes all the way to the back. This also has some nice body lines with this rear pillar leading to the back. And then as we work our way to the side, this has a gloss black set of wheels with the very large M Sport brakes finished off in red for this model. There's the X5M badge just behind that. And then gloss black for the side mirrors. They are power folding. They feature the camera and the turn signal. There's also a full moonroof for this model, gloss black for the roof racks, as well as the rest of the window trim. And then some nice lines that run in the lower section and just underneath the height of the door. You'll also be able to tell too that the fender arches poke out slightly just to give it a great look too. Now this also has a body colored spoiler with the third brake light and the wiper blade in the lower section. There's LEDs for the taillights, which have a great look to them. That bar also runs right through the power trunk, where there's more carbon fiber with the Audi badge. There's the backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then that dual exhaust with more gloss black for the diffuser there, as well as carbon fiber that goes just around the exhaust tips there for those trim accents. Now as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or the button up underneath to open up that power liftgate, where there's a good bit of space. This is a practical SUV, so you can fit in a lot of items. There's also a little bit of storage underneath the floor if you needed to use that, and you can also fold down the back seats. So that will give you a lot more interior space depending on the items that you have to place in the back. Now there's also this removable cover, so you can use that as needed. There's also some storage nets on the driver's side, as well as being able to raise and lower the rear suspension. So if you need a lower load height, you can push on one of those buttons and easily do that. There's also large LED cargo lights, so you can see at nighttime. And then up top, there's the button to close the liftgate and lock the vehicle too. And then this has a body colored spoiler up top with the large fins or bulges on both sides there. There's the third brake light, as well as the wiper blade. There's LED taillights. There's the backup camera, all of the parking sensors, more gloss black in the diffuser, along with the quad tip dual exhaust. Now this does have remote start, so you can just use the key fob if you would like to. You can also use the key fob to open up the liftgate, or you can just walk up to it and use this button up underneath. Now, if you opt for the towing package, this can tow up to around 7,200 pounds. And one thing unique with the X5 is it has the split liftgate. So you have that upper section, and then you have the pickup truck style with the lower tailgate there, basically. So you could use this to sit on, or it makes it easier to load items into the back. Now, this is a pretty good size SUV, so you can fit in a lot of items. Underneath the floor, simply lift this up, and there's a spare tire, along with being able to put the cover back here when that is not in use, and you have a little bit of extra storage if you need to use it. There's also tie-down hooks in the back. There's the cover that's currently installed, and you can even fold down the back seats to give yourself that much more interior space. From experience, you can fit a 65-inch TV laying flat in the back. So definitely pretty large for it. And then you can just push the button up top, and it will close both of those as needed. Now, as we work our way to the back, there's the proximity door handles, so you can lock and unlock it from the back. And this model has a beautiful interior. There's all the Alcantara along with leather. There's also a sunshade, which is automatic, so you can use the window control for that. Bang & Olufsen for the sound system. There's more carbon fiber and storage in that lower section. And then as we look at the RS seats, they have leather with the knee insert running down them. There's also the control on the side. You can use that to fold the seats flat and use them to recline the seats too. Now at 5'10", I have plenty of space. There's storage pockets. There's also vents in the middle. You have all of the climate controls along with the heated seat adjustments that you can go through. There's more auxiliaries down below, and you can even move these seats forwards and backwards. So depending on the legroom that you need or the cargo space that you need, you have that functionality. And I have about 1 inch or so of headroom between the Alcantara headliner. So very comfortable at my height. I could easily ride around in the back. Now right in the middle, there's the armrest as well as the cup holders there. And you can even fold down this middle seat just by pushing on that release if you need a little bit more functionality. Now, as far as visibility goes, you have a little bit of a pillar there, but you have very large windows on both sides of that. Now, as you've been hearing at lock and unlock, we have the proximity key. Now, there's no sensor on the back door handle here, but you do have the option of setting it up where you can unlock it from the front, and then it will unlock the back door. So at least you still have that option. Now for the back, this has the manual adjusting sunshade. There's also Bowers & Wilkins for the audio, interior lighting, carbon fiber, brushed aluminum, and some leather too. Even a lot of storage in that lower section. And then you'll notice too the two-tone design for these leather seats, which is a really nice accent. There's also the BMW color stitched on the seat belts there. Now in the back at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's also the storage pockets. You have your vents, heated seat adjustments, and then all of your climate controls, temperature, fan speed, where you'd like the air to go. There's storage underneath that, as well as auxiliaries in the lower section. There's also an area behind both front seats where you can attach and charge tablets. So you can do that on both sides if you need to. And then at my height, 5'10", I have about 1/2 inch to 1 inch or so of headroom sitting upright. So it's definitely comfortable in the back. We even have Alcantara for this headliner too. Now right in the middle, you can open this up where you have a little bit of storage with the armrest, and then you have cup holders on the front section. Now you can also fold down this middle seat individually if you would like to, and then of course lock that back into place. And then here's a look at visibility. It's very open feeling, especially with the sunroof open or the moonroof there. Now as we take a look up front, we have all the same materials. There's the memory seating adjustments with lock and unlock, the mirror controls, which are also heated. There's the trunk release, more storage, and all of that beautiful Alcantara. RSQ8 is also down on the door sill. And then we have a little bit more bolster support for these front seats, which are automatic, and they have the massaging function. So you can control those from the side of the seat. Now, as we hop in, we are greeted with the Alcantara steering wheel. There's also paddle shifters on both sides. There's the cruise and distance pacing stalk on the left. You will notice the engine temperature and the fuel gauge are both digital readouts on each side. And then within the screen itself, we can use the adjustments on the left side to further go through this. So I can use the arrows to go over to the right, and you'll notice all the drop downs there, even pulling up the navigation. You can scroll through all of this information too, depending on what you would like to view. And then if you click on view, it will minimize the tach and miles per hour. So if you want to view all of this in a full screen, especially the navigation, you can bring that up on the entire system. So very neat, just depending on how you need to view that for the day. And then on the right side, there's volume and tuning, Bluetooth and voice commands. And then there's the RS control. This will also change the gauge cluster readout, so you have some performance driving as well as miles per hour and what gear you're in. And there's two different settings. You have RS1 and RS2. Depending on the driving that you would like to do, you can customize those as needed. It's also going to change the head-up display. So with the standard setting, you just see miles per hour, and then in the RS settings, you see the tach as well as miles per hour on that side there. So very configurable, which is great. Now on this left side, there's a little bit of storage down below. There's also more of the carbon fiber. There's gloss black accents, leather for the entire dash, and you'll notice the tweeters down at the base of the windshield there. They will actually disappear when you shut the vehicle off. Now right in the middle, we have two infotainment systems. The one in the upper section has a lot of these standard icons that you can go through. So you can swipe through all of these as needed, get into your vehicle, so you can go through all of the drive modes as well. You have off-road, all-road, comfort, auto, and dynamic, and you can even raise and lower the entire vehicle with that control and set up your RS1 and RS2. And then you have shortcuts on this left side to get into your nav and your music as well. And then if we scroll back over to vehicle, let's go into the RS settings. So that way you can pull up this monitor here and you can go through a few of these performance meters depending on what you would like to see. So really neat to have that. Now in between both of these screens, there's the engine start stop with the downhill assist. There's also a parallel parking feature. You do have shortcuts for the navigation that you can program. You can also get into the head-up display, so you can push on this button here and go through those settings, and then you can turn that upper screen off. Now in the lower section, we have all of the climates. You have heated and ventilated seats, temperature, where you'd like the air to go. You can even get into the heated steering wheel and the rear controls too. And then you have a few other recirc adjustments. There's also a shortcut to drive select, so the driving modes that I just showed. And there's a shortcut to the parking sensors. So you can pull this up with all of these different angles, including the 3D view. So you can swipe around the entire vehicle to give yourself all of that added visibility. There's a shortcut to the parallel parking feature, and then there's also the driver assistance. So you can go through those and configure them as needed. Now there's tuning and volume, along with cup holders, a 12 volt. You could place the key fob there. More Alcantara on the shifter. If we push that forwards, you can pull up the camera system. There's also drive, and then you can shift using this or the paddle shifters. The e-brake is behind that. More Alcantara for the armrest, which is adjustable. And then you can open this up where you have some auxiliaries and more storage. There's more carbon fiber on the passenger side with plenty of space in the glove box. And let's take a quick look at the window sticker with the amount of options. The matte carbon package, $7,100. Bang & Olufsen, $4,900. There's the RS design package, $4,200. Executive package, $2,800. Luxury package, $1,500. And then the exhaust is $1,000. The ceramic brakes with red calipers, $500. That seems like a pretty good bargain. But we have a lot of options for this particular model. There's also some garage door buttons up top with the rear view mirror, touch sensitive dome lights, and the adjustments for that sunshade. And then here's a look at visibility. Again, with that pillar, you can easily see around it. And then the same goes for the left side. You can view out of that large window very nicely. Now working your way up front, this model has the massaging seats. You can also use L2 to use the seat controls on the driver's side and adjust that passenger seat if you need to. There's the window controls, side mirror adjustments. Everything else is pretty much the same as the back seats. And then we get a little bit more bolstering support with the badge up top there for your front seats. There's also the leg support, which you can use as needed. And then taking a look at the leather steering wheel now, it has a very nice design to it. There's the M badge down below, M1 and M2, as well as the massive carbon fiber paddles. All of your cruise control settings are on the left, and then right side you have volume tuning, Bluetooth, and voice commands. For this current layout, on the left side there's fuel along with miles per hour. On the right side there's tach and engine temperature along with what gear you are in. Now if I use a button over on the right side of the steering wheel, we can gain access to the content. So you can scroll through all of this, including the augmented reality. You have that camera system, just depending on what you need to see for the day. You have all the different driving modes there as well, and then some other vitals that you can quickly get into. Now you can also scroll over to the head-up display and view some information on that. So again, just depending on the layout that you would like, you can pull that up. Now in order to change the gauge cluster, simply come down to the center and push on M mode. By pushing on M mode, you can get into sport and track, and that is going to give you a little bit more of a sporty design with all of the information you need. It's also going to pull up the RPM in a larger view on the head-up display. So it's nice that you have the option to do that. Now on this left side, you have some headlight adjustments. There's also a little bit of storage. You have an air vent along with some carbon fiber there. Leather covers the entire dash. And then with the infotainment system, very easy to go through all this information. You have all of these icons that you can quickly get through, just depending on what you need to adjust. You have the home screen here where you can control the widgets, so you can customize this as needed. There's all the climates as well as navigation and music. And then you have adjustments for the heated and ventilated seats and heated steering wheel. Now there's air vents underneath that. There's also the ambient lighting that will change depending on the driving mode that you are in. Now there's power and volume tuning, you have some defrosters, there's also wireless charging with auxiliaries, cup holders, and they're even heated and cooled. So you can accommodate those to the drinks that you have. Now there's all these shortcuts for that infotainment system, so you don't have to use it as a touchscreen system. And then with the shifter, let's put it into reverse, where this has the 360 camera system. So you can go through all of these different angles, just depending on what you need to see. You have no shortage of visibility around the entire vehicle. To put it into drive and sport mode, just go over to the right, and then there's park and the ability to adjust the transmission on the back side. Now on this left side, there's traction control, parking sensors, engine start stop. There's the M mode along with setup, and setup is how you can get into M1 and M2. So you can go between efficiency all the way up to Sport Plus, depending on how you want to drive. There's also the exhaust note, auto hold and the e-brake, a downhill assist, and then there's the split armrest where you have some auxiliaries, and then plenty of storage in the glove box as well. You get garage door buttons up top along with dome lights and the adjustments for the sunshade and the sunroof. And here's a look at visibility. The windows are pretty large, so it's very easy to see even over that left side as well. And so we are still in one of the RS settings. We'll go into second gear and give it a small acceleration. And again, these paddles are very responsive, and this car handles extremely well. Now, of course, I'm not doing any performance driving today, but I can tell that this is going to be a lot of fun to drive. With the performance vehicles that I have been able to drive, it's a quick vehicle, and it's going to put a smile on your face and give you that performance that you want. And this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the RSQ8. It also handles really well too. This is a heavy SUV, but coming around these turns at just a normal rate of speed here, with that adaptive suspension, that's also going to help. It'll get a little bit stiffer in the RS settings, but it can handle its weight well. And then with another acceleration, it definitely sounds good. I do wish it was a little bit louder for being the RSQ8 version, but you could always change that if you wanted to. And it's a great place to be. I don't have any complaints with this. I'm not in these too often. They're not at the dealerships that often because they're either pre-sold or just not available because everyone is buying them up and just having a blast driving them. But this would make for a great daily driver just with what it has to offer, and especially the exclusivity of it. But more importantly, the fact that for its price, when you compare it to some of the other competition, it's not all that bad. If you don't go with a fully loaded model here, but even if you do, it is still going to be under the radar with the performance, with the looks. You're kind of just in an Audi, but if you know what this is, you know it's something special. And we are still in the Sport Plus settings, second gear. Here we go. And just a mild acceleration. This has a lot more potential, of course, than what I'm doing today. You can also check out some of the other performance BMWs we've been able to drive, the M3 Competition, which I know is a sedan, but you can kind of get a feel for the performance and the power that this vehicle is going to have. So this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the X5. Paddle shifters are in a really good spot. I like how large they are. They're much larger than in mine. Being the Competition, of course, they're going to give you that added sportiness, having the larger paddles, but it's a really nice place to be. We have a luxury vibe too. So it's going to give you the refinements you're looking for in a BMW, and just something that's super quiet and comfortable to drive. And then if we just put into the automatic setting, you can also adjust the transmission, so it will shift on its own, either quick or slow, depending on how you have it set, which again is just another characteristic that you can add to this. We also have the massaging seats. I know I didn't show that function on the screen, but it's pretty easy to go through. You have 3 different levels depending on the impulse or the type of massaging that you want. They time out after about a half hour or so. They may go a little bit longer. I've used them on long road trips, and it's nice to have. Definitely keeps you from getting stiff if you're going on a long road trip. So that is a nice benefit to have. It is an option. On this, it might be standard though, but a nice place to be. I really don't have any complaints. Mine is a plug-in hybrid, which I probably wouldn't buy again. I would go with just a gas version. This has the electric assistance, which you can't really get around. It's a 48-volt hybrid system, mild hybrid system, which I think is nice. It helps bump out a little bit more power, but it's not a full plug-in like my X5. So I don't have any complaints with it other than the plug-in hybrid, which is a whole different story. Aside from that, I think it is a very nice SUV. And coming back to our final thoughts now, between the RSQ8 Performance and the X5M Competition, these are both very performance oriented. They're also very practical as just a normal daily driver SUV. Now, from both of the full reviews that I made on these, I had a lot of comments about the stiffness of the ride and how these may not be a full daily driver. In my personal opinion, I would absolutely daily drive the RSQ8 or the X5M Competition. My tripod is sitting on my Audi R8 at the moment right now, so I'm used to the sportiness and a little bit of the stiffness, but these vehicles have the adaptive suspensions to make them more comfortable for daily driving, or you can stiffen it up for some back roads, maybe some twisty roads, some spirited type of driving. But these are absolutely daily driving SUVs that can tow. They have plenty of space and practicality for an SUV. So if you want that performance in your SUV, these are 2 very good options to go with, just depending on the exterior styling, the interior features that you like, and just what's available. But they're both going to be well-refined, luxury-focused, and highly performance-oriented SUVs. So you really can't go wrong with either one. I own an Audi, I own a BMW too, so I'm a little mixed between which one I would go with. I do have an X5. It's not the Competition model, however, but they are both very good options to go with. Comment down below, would you rather have the RSQ8 Performance or the X5M Competition? Let me know your thoughts. Give this video a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.